This event is really to raise awareness in our community, to let everybody know that we're here with services with our agency to provide support and help for those that are victims of domestic violence, or even those families that have experienced domestic violence from loved ones who have died.
90% of that cycle is the beatings and the torture and the financial control and all of the ugly abuse that goes with it.
We're asking people to come out and support, hear the testimonies of the women and families that have gone through things, their survival stories, which also are very touching and will bring tears to people's eyes, and also just to make people aware that there's help. All they have to do is reach out for those resources.
A lot of times victims can feel like they don't have anywhere to turn, or they shouldn't tell people about it. Explain why that isn't the case and who they can turn to.
Well, actually, they can turn to us. We serve 7 parishes: Ascension, Iberville, East and West Baton Rouge, East and West Felicianas, and Point Capee Parish. And we are in the community to help those who are in need. It's not always the case that people do tell, but we want them to know that they have that support. They have the confidentiality that they need when they come to us, and we're there to help them move from being in a situation that they're beaten and trodden and beat down to being empowered.
It's up to all of us here tonight. Everybody that's here in this audience, whatever we can do to assist somebody, let's do it. We know it's tough on some woman, some lady, or some man.
You know, we get invited every year to come out here, and of course we provide the facility for these folks, but it's just an easy thing to do when you know that these folks out here really fighting for the women and the children, matter of fact, you know, that's been abused. And I really throw my support to these folks because they 24/7, you know, everything they do is here to help people that's been abused and even potentially abused, because it's an educational process as well. So it's easy for me to come out here and just do whatever I can to help them out.
Why is it important to facilitate an event such as this so that they can make things like this aware to people that may feel they can't talk about it or shouldn't talk about it?
Yeah, you know, it's and I can go back into my old law enforcement days, and there were so many people and so many women that are very scared about this, and honestly, they just frightened. And I think this being educational, when I say that, number one, there are a lot of women out here that don't know that there's a place for them, that they can go for shelter and for help. And not only for the woman herself, but if she has children, they can go for the children as well. And, you know, why do a lot of these women, you know, they don't want to report this for whatever reasons? A lot of it is monetarily. I mean, they're afraid that they won't be able to get out into the world, so to speak, or go back to work if they're abused. And, you know, it's a frightful thing for them. But these folks will tell you all about it and tell you where you can go for help. And whether it's for counseling, whether it's for money, or if it's medically speaking, they're there for you. And I think it's just important for us to get out here and talk about it and let people know. There's probably somebody in that audience tonight that may be getting abused, or they know somebody being abused. And I think for them to hear this will give them the spirit, so to speak, might move them in the right direction to go ahead and get out.
In Ascension Parish this year so far, we've had 4 citizens killed by a domestic partner. And we've had obviously many more who were beaten and harmed by someone who professes to love them. So what we're doing today is part of a 9 parish effort in 9 different parishes in this area, where they all have a Take Back the Night event, and the goal is to increase people's awareness about domestic violence. Here in Ascension Parish, our focus is on the more positive. So while we usually have a survivor talk about what they went through, but we always have them talk about what changed for them, what finally got them out of the situation, and then we also offer them a lot of different resources. The parish is involved in that because at Ascension Counseling Center, if we get a referral from someone, a child or an adult who's in an abusive situation, that person can come to us free of charge for counseling. In fact, we collaborate a lot with the domestic violence program here, with the sheriff's office, and if they send us a referral for anyone who's in an abusive situation, then we see them free of charge.
You mentioned 4 that have died this year, but there's also so many that haven't seeked out help because they're either too afraid or they think it's their fault or something that shouldn't even be spoken about. So what's the message to those that haven't spoken out against it yet?
The message is that there is help. At Ascension Counseling Center, what we do is work with people to help them become more empowered so that they can see their way out of it. It's a very complicated situation, and you know that many people who are in that situation, they leave multiple times and go back multiple times. So there's a lot of complicated issues that go on that make people stay in those situations. We never tell somebody, you have to leave that situation. If we do that before they're ready to, then we just become another abusive voice to them. So what we do is provide them with the support and the understanding and the encouragement that they need to figure out what the next step is for them. And it's true that whenever people are leaving an abusive spouse, that's the most difficult time for them. I believe all 4 of the murders in Ascension Parish were after they had left the abuser. So there's a lot of groundwork that needs to be laid and a lot of services that need to be provided. Kim Wells from the Domestic Violence Shelter can give you a lot of information about that. They have a shelter where people can go, and they have a lot of services, free legal services and other things that can help people leave in a safe manner.
What is the one main message that Iris tries to put out there to those that are victims of domestic violence? Like what's the main message? The
main message that we like to provide is that there is hope. Just because you've been in a situation for 7 years, 17 years, 7 days, there is hope. And it's not that you have to stay in that situation. You can get out of it, and that's what we're here for. We want to be able to move you from that step where nobody cares about you, that you feel that you have no one to turn to, that you're isolated, to that position that I can do this and I have that courage.
The best crime prevention tool and the best criminal investigation tool is the eyes and ears of the public.
Why is it important to have a public event like this to spread that awareness?
Well, because it's such a dysfunctional secret. This kind of a phenomenon is such a dangerous thing, and I will tell you that my years in law enforcement, which have been many, and my years as sheriff, which have been many, it seems to be getting worse, and it seems to be getting much more dramatic. And I'm talking about lives have been lost right here in this community in recent months, actually. And so anytime you can step forward and create an awareness of the community, it's almost like the kids in the schools. A lot of our child abuse cases are revealed in a school setting, in a counselor setting, not so much in the community. Mm-hmm. Well, we want our community to embrace the real nature of this and the real consequences of it, which are dire. And if there's something out there that the community sees that's amiss, they can do it confidentially, but they can call. If they get a sixth sense that there's something going on next door, they hear noise, they hear screams, they hear rumbling, whatever. See their neighbor the next day and their neighbor has a black eye and said she fell. Whatever, those kind of things, you can do it anonymously, and we can follow up on it. And what we do is we do it all in one-stop shop at the sheriff's office. If you come see our division there, if you're sent to the clerk, we help you go there. If you're sent to the judge, we help you go there. So those of you out there, the listeners who may be victims, who may be victims of either violence or just the verbal abuse side of it, we can help you, and you're not alone.
It's very important for people to understand that domestic violence is something that should not be tolerated. And the purpose that we're trying to do here is to make people aware of the services that are provided for them in case something like that should happen to them or somebody that they know. And also just to educate the people so they understand that this is not a direction that people have to head. We want to provide services and let people know that we have them here in Ascension Parish.
Ascension Parish is just full of very loving, generous, caring people, and so it's very easy for us to put on an event like this.
Because they're always willing to give a hand.
Right. Yes, they are. As far as our participation for Ascension Counseling Center, we are supported by property tax millage so that our services can be free or low cost. And we offer free services to people who've been victims of abuse.
we come together to try to find ways and strategies to work on making our community better as it relates to domestic violence, getting the word out, making sure that the women are getting the resources that they need. Now, the posters that you see behind me were actually done by the children at our agency. And we do a program, Hands Are Not for Hitting, where we teach kids that there are other things that you can do with your hands besides cause violence. And so one of the positive things that they did was make these signs. And then these signs, we want people just to have a visual display of what you don't have to go through or what you don't have to see on a daily basis. We've invited Dutchtown High School Band, who have partnered with us for the last 7 or 8 years. East Ascension High School, their Interact Club that comes and participates. And then we also have Santa Ana High School Choir that comes. We know that violence doesn't start when you get of an adult age, but it starts when you're a child and in your youth. And so because from the ages of 20, 25, we see the most violence, we like to also address teen dating violence, which we do a program called Safe Dates, and where we go into the schools and we teach children what a healthy relationship should look like.
And in what ways can people get in contact with IRIS or any of the other branches? How can they get in contact with phone numbers, emails?
They can go to our website at stopdv.org, or they can call us at 1-800-541-9706, or they can call the immediate number at 389-3001. And we have trained advocates that are on the line to assist anyone who calls 365 days of the year, nonstop.
Awesome. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
That's it. You know, we want to thank our parish president, Tommy Martinez, Sheriff Wiley, and Chief Jackson, and of course our mayor, Mayor Barney Arsenault. They are great supporters. We could not do this without them. They team up. I can always go to them if I need something, and we want to just say thank you on behalf of IRIS Domestic Violence Center.